Uh, Welcome to our presentation in your area, Director of Energy and Sustainability. You make sure that we can do all of our jobs effectively. We also have two recyclers that deal with some of the physical waste on campus. That's Juan and Isidro. And then we have Arthur Rush. He's like our metering and control specialist who manages like all of like the physical metering infrastructure all across campus that helps us collect data, which kind of drives a lot of the projects that we do. In addition to that, we also have we offer internships, volunteer opportunities to lots of students on our campus. Sometimes not to students as well. We try to open it up to the community as much as possible. We recognize that Sac State is just part of the city as a whole, and we want to do everything we can to support the city through different programs that we'll talk about in our presentation. So what do we do? Ultimately, what we're in charge of is trying to reduce the uh, water, waste, energy, and greenhouse gas emissions that are associated with the physical campus. Um, and we have lots of opportunities to work with students, faculty, staff. Again, we offer those internship opportunities for students that are looking for academic credit. We work with the College Core program. We currently have six College Core fellows that work with us and help us maintain the garden and have other individual projects that they're working on as well.
We also have volunteer hours, and we work with the Community Engagement Center
Correct.
for helping out the garden as well.
Right. So a lot of what drives our work is policy. And when we talk about policy, it's everything from the federal to the state to the local level, even university level. Sac State is one of 23 campuses as part of the CSU system, which represents almost 500,000 students, almost 500,000 students, which is one of the largest university systems, not just in California, but across the entire country. So when we have policy that affects all 23 campuses, it has a really big impact. Some of the main driving pieces of policy that drive our work are local mandates like Senate Bill 32, which compelled us to basically lower or meet the 1990 level greenhouse gas emissions that were associated with the campus's operations by 2019. And that's regardless of the fact that the campus has more than doubled in size. And we will talk a little bit, I'll talk a little bit more about how we gather that data and talk to you a little bit more about like greenhouse gas emissions if that's not necessarily a concept that you're very familiar with. We did meet that goal. And we met that goal due to a few different reasons. Some of it was some of the lighting projects that we did. And a big part of it was actually due to campus closure when the pandemic came through. So kind of an unanticipated effect of the pandemic, but we were able to meet that goal. And we have a few other pieces of policy that have kind of developed out of that. One of the key ones is SB 1383, and Laura will talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. So when we're talking about the greenhouse gas emissions, we are talking about gases in our atmosphere that kind of get trapped and they create this warming house. Any of you have like are avid gardeners or you have a greenhouse at home or worked inside of a greenhouse, you can imagine when you enter, it's much warmer inside there. It's the same concept with greenhouse gases. The big one that we talk about most often is carbon dioxide. That's one of the main greenhouse gases in our atmosphere that's contributing to a lot of global climate change. And we like to categorize it into three different scopes. Scope one is like on-site combustion. So like we have our water heaters, we have our central plant that provides heating to all of the buildings on campus. So we are directly combusting that natural gas on campus for that heating, water heating, and that's part of our scope one. Scope two is purchased electricity. So we're lucky to have SMUD. Uh, I think so. And a lot more affordable than some of the other investor-owned utilities in California. All of the emissions that are associated with the purchase, transmission, and generation of that electricity, we're accounting for in our scope two emissions. And then scope 3 is essentially everything else, which makes it a very challenging category. I'm sure Laura will talk a little bit more about that. But to kind of break it down simply, it's transportation, waste, and basically everything that you purchase, procurement. There's even like some embodied carbon that's part of scope 3 as well, but that's really kind of getting into the weeds. So I mentioned that data is very important to a lot of the work that we do. We track a lot of the building's usage in terms of electricity, water, natural gas. We even track waste at every single building on our campus, and we put it up on a dashboard that you can go. It's publicly available on our website, and you can look and see what every single building is using and see what the campus is using collectively year after year in real time. Virus scanning for waste.
Disease like COVID
No, we are mostly tracking how much we are producing in terms of landfill recycling and compost generated on campus. It's part of the SB 1383 mandate Josh mentioned briefly, and I'm gonna teach you how to do it later on.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Time for a quick question. What's up?
Maybe the university doesn't do the virus testing. The municipality does. So you can always see where you're at. And it'll tell you, you can see it when there's a spike in COVID or through by neighborhoods.
Okay.
It's find when we fall into.
So without getting into a lot of details, our campus operates very differently because if you think about it, it's kind of like a mini city and we are a state entity. So we have to do our own reporting. We are not part of one of the waste jurisdictions, but all the laws for them apply to us. But we have private contracts. We don't follow the city contract. So it takes a lot of different layers to get the reporting and the data from us compared to a municipality or like an area of the city of Sac for these type of things, because our waste doesn't go to the same place every month. We have a private contract with the waste hauler and they take it to different facilities depending on the capacity, which is a great point. I'm going to really look into that. I think that's very cool. But to my knowledge, it will be very hard to track on that type of like spikes within our waste, because even it might change from Monday to Wednesday where we are taking what was collected.
Well, thank you for the question and the feedback. I mean, it's really great when we get to come and talk to different types of groups because we get exposed to new types of information that will allow us to do more cool stuff, right? So appreciate that feedback. So kind of getting into the metering, which is really one of the foundational elements of my position. I sort of act as like the utility company for the campus. I pay all of the bills from every single utility. That's SMUD, PG&E, Department of General Services, City of Sacramento, all of our solar providers. And we enter all that information into like an energy information system, which transmits it to that dashboard that I was talking about in the previous slide. But it's important to get really good data because it's hard to manage what you can't measure. And so we have digital meters on all of our buildings that track all of the water and electricity, many of them for the natural gas, as well as some buildings for the load of energy that's flowing in through the chilled water and the steam that we use to deliver heating and cooling inside of our buildings at most of the buildings on our campus. And so those meters actually push all of that data directly into our dashboard, and we track it, and then we end up billing our auxiliary institutions that operate on our campus independently from the state. So I talked about how my position, I'm the energy and sustainability analyst. So I work on a lot of energy reduction projects because that's really the biggest bang for your buck. The cheapest energy is the energy that you don't have to buy. Right. So pretty much the biggest projects that we have on campus that we've been working on are doing LED lighting retrofits. So swapping out a lot of the bulbs where you have like your non-LED lights and swapping them out. Usually you see like a return on your investment within just a couple of years because light emitting diodes are so energy efficient compared to like fluorescent fixtures and other types of lighting. Um, One of our biggest projects, we completely retrofitted our campus library. We removed over 5,000 fixtures. It took 2 years to do all of that. And LEDs are actually so bright that for every three that we replaced, we were able to remove one of those lights. And what that kind of impact that had was it reduced the energy use of the library by 55%. Which equates to about $100,000 a year in energy savings, in electricity savings specifically. So that's pretty awesome. I mentioned that our campus has a really cool thing called a central utility plant where we generate chilled water and high pressure steam, and we deliver the chilled water and the steam to our buildings depending on the season. And that's how we heat and cool our spaces. One really cool thing that we have is a thermal energy storage tank, which is essentially like a giant water battery. And that's right over next to the intramural soccer fields and tennis courts. That helps us reduce the amount of chilling that we need to do during those peak times. I'm sure many of you are familiar with like kind of like the time of day clocks and how it's much more expensive to purchase electricity during those peak periods from like 5 to 8 p.m. And so we tend to use the chilled water, the thermal energy storage tank, and draw off of that when power is very expensive and tends to be more carbon intensive. We also participate in an ADR program. It's called demand response. So when the grid is highly taxed, SMUD says, "Hey, can you guys dial it back just a little bit?" And we have like an automatic response to that where we have a building automation system which turns up the temperature a little bit so that we're not cooling our buildings quite as much during the summer. We're not moving that air quite as much, and that reduces a lot of energy during those peak periods, which essentially allows for the grid to be less taxed and makes it more energy and electricity available for everybody who is tied into SMUD's grid.
Are they real thermostats for temperature control, or are they just?
So the vast majority of our facilities on Sac State's campus, there is not really the tendency for occupants to necessarily have control of the thermostats in the spaces. So if there are conditions inside of spaces, usually it takes a call over to facilities management, and then the folks over engineering services at Central Plant will adjust the settings so that occupants are comfortable.
So I wouldn't do it because I don't work here, but if I was touching thermostat, I'm not doing it.
Well, I can't speak for this building. This is technically off campus from our perspective, and it's not tied into Central Plant. So this building operates independently from the most of other Sac State's infrastructure.
I can give you an example. 2 weeks ago, I was teaching a class on a Thursday at noon. And the temperature is already cooler, and we walk into the classroom, and it felt like we were in a sauna. And I see all my students like knocking at the door, playing with the fan. Nothing happens. Everybody starts sweating. So I took a quick text to the director of engineering, and in like 10 minutes, the room was cooler. So yes, even if you have it, some of the older buildings might have them, but they don't really do anything within the space.
For sure. Yeah, we don't necessarily want that because who knows what could happen. Somebody could just bump a thermostat and then we're like heating a room all night long. And what a waste of energy and money, right? So, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. So I kind of mentioned that dashboard piece. I want to just pull out like a snapshot of the library, and you can literally see from the point where we didn't do the lighting retrofit to the very next year where we did it. And you could see that drastic drop in electricity use in the library. So I think this is a very telling slide or depiction of kind of what these energy reduction projects do on our campus. So solar, renewable energy is another piece of the puzzle when it comes to reducing our carbon emissions. We currently have 3 megawatts of solar. It's all pretty much carports at this point. We have a couple systems. We have a total of 5 systems on campus. One is on top of the library, one is on top of the Student Wellness Center, and then we have 3 solar-covered carports. We found that drilling through rooftops was not necessarily so great when it comes to installing solar due to a lot of leakages. Sometimes you got to resurface or replace your roof, and then you got to remove the solar panels, which is very costly and challenging. So we found that putting them over parking tends to be more successful for us. You don't have to move the solar panels every time you resurface a parking lot. And ultimately, what that represents is about 10 to 15% of the campus's total electricity use. And we also have a special contract with a federal group called the Western Area Power Administration. They run, operate, and maintain pretty much all of the hydroelectric infrastructure up in the Pacific Northwest. And using forecasting due to weather and precipitation, they say, we anticipate that we are going to generate 50 gigawatt hours of electricity this year. Who wants a piece of this? And we're like, we want that. That sounds great because hydroelectric power tends to be very inexpensive and essentially carbon free. There are some habitat there are impacts to habitats, but we do pay into a restoration fund so that the same administration can work on restoring those local habitats. So is it the perfect solution? Not necessarily, but it's part of more carbon-free power. And I think that we actually peaked last summer in the middle of July. 24% of our electricity use was from renewable sources of power, and we're continuing to try to make more progress there. It's nice, right? Yeah. So that's another great benefit of putting solar panels over the top of parking. Yeah, great.
Curiosity that about the leaky roofs thing.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about the campus, but is that same like for homes too, or not? Totally different.
Well, I mean, I think if you're trying to get solar on your roof at home, like you're dealing with licensed contractors that know what they're doing and they're sealing it properly. We have a lot of big commercial buildings that have really flat roofs. They're pretty old. Like I think the average building on Sac State's campus is 1975, but there are many buildings that are much older than that. I realize that's not like very old in the grand scheme of things, but those roofs need to be resurfaced, repatched regularly. And when it comes down to that maintenance, having those panels in the way becomes a challenge, especially because all of the solar that we have on our campus, we don't own it outright. We've used a special financing mechanism called a power purchase agreement, where we essentially said, hey, community, anybody want to come out and use our land and put your solar panels on it? We promise to buy all of the power that they generate for a 30-year period. And what that did is it allowed us to not have to pay for that solar up front because it was very expensive. Just lot alone was set $8.6 million. And it's like we didn't have $8.6 million sitting around in our bank account. So we found that was a really good strategy to get renewable power on site, lock in a low rate for a long period of time that allows us to save money and generate renewable power on site. They're doing all kinds of work on the stadium. We actually just replaced all of the stadium lights over there with LEDs.
The new one?
Oh, the new one.
We did, our director got a chance to submit some sustainability ideas and proposals that needed to get into the design from our management, like the areas we manage perspective. At this time, we don't know which ones are gonna get adopted if the stadium gets built. But he did submit in the name of the office what we were thinking that were good things to add. And it kind of like relates to the past question. Like most of the buildings that we had, they were built without knowing we needed to have solar at some point, or we needed to have centralized waste and some things that are now the way we operate. So it's better when from the design point, we get to see, or at least advise what will work. So yes, I think there were some conversation having some of the solar cover some of the seating. We added and we make sure everything was electric. We wanted to be LED lights. I wanted a digester or a composter for the food generated. So we'll see what gets adopted, but we did submit some comments.
That's huge.
Yes.
For sure. A lot of ifs right now. Maybe a lot of ifs and maybes. We're not entirely sure how that's going to pan out. So
Say, do you think of a university structure having to do financing?
it happens all the time. You know, public schools and like city colleges have to get bonding. So we have to find other types of purchasing. All right. And then we brought a lot of that solar online in 2023, 2024, and you can see this huge leap up in the amount of solar generation on campus. Again, all of this data is available online. If you just Google Sac State Sustainability, you should be able to find it. It's called the Sustainability Dashboard. Transportation, this is a big part of scope 3 that's really challenging. We have about 30,000 students on our campus, and a lot of them drive to campus. So we do our best to work with university parking and transportation services to find alternative forms of transportation for students. That includes actually helping support the transit pass that each of the students get every semester. And that allows them to ride all of SAC RT. You could take the light rail, the bus system, you could take the shuttle out to the airport, out to Davis, and all of that's covered through student fees and also supported by student government. We also have lots of cycling and walking and active transportation infrastructure on our campus, designated pathways for students to use and campus community members. We do have an open campus, so you can ride your bike right over Guy West Bridge and straight through campus and see all the beautiful greenery that our campus has to offer. We also have over 70 different EV charging stations on our campus to support a lower cost for students and faculty and staff to use electric vehicles or plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, alternative to internal combustion engines. In terms of water, it's important for us to reduce the amount of water, but I also want to talk about the water quality. We live in a river city. We got 2 major rivers running through our city. And so all of the water from precipitation and rain events oftentimes washes lots of insoluble chemicals and heavy metals off of these impermeable surfaces, and they're always end up back into the natural ecosystem. So in partnership with the Office of Water Programs, they developed 25 different sites where they put in these low impact development sites, which are essentially these geo-engineered sites where rainwater runs into. It filters it using all of these different types of gravel and sediment and different plants that actually remove these heavy metals from the rainwater that's returning back to the aquifer through these systems. So we have 25 different sites on our campus that were designated through that program, but also as part of California's Green Building Code, all new construction requires the perimeter of buildings to have some form of rainwater retention that includes some of the same components as these low impact development sites. Office of Water Programs tests all of the water that's being discharged into the river before and after the project to basically ensure that these are working properly. And that way we have that data so that we can continue to improve our infrastructure as we continue to develop our world. In addition to that, we installed lots of low flow faucets all across campus as part of a grant that was supported by student research, which was really awesome. We had a student that put together a report and did some research that supported the installation of these low flow infrared faucets that's helped reduce the campus's domestic water use or water that we receive from the city by about 50 to 60%. And we've just been seeing those savings ever since we got those installed back in 2016. So what that equates to is about 8 million gallons of water every single year. So it's very substantial, and it just really demonstrates and highlights the impact of student research on our campus.
Okay, we're going to talk about waste. Yay. So when we think about waste, we probably don't want to think about it. We don't want to touch it. We don't want to smell it. We just need it to go away as fast as we can, right? I'm going to tell you the opposite. Take a second, look at the trash can, read the signs, and then dispose it. So we actually, and I'm going to go into this in a little bit, but we have an internal goal to be zero waste by 2030. We are also, like I kind of explained earlier, we are, we're like our own jurisdiction under Cut Recycleize, which Cut Recycle is the state entity, EPA, that focuses on waste management for the state of California. So SB 1383 has been my entire day for the last 3 years, and it's still happening every day. And what it really made us do was completely change the way we manage waste in our campus. And we also have to provide a lot of training and education and presentations to the community. So we all are doing our part, right? Where we stop by the trash can for a few seconds every time. Yeah, okay. So like I say, Sac State, like zero waste is very important. We have the goal to be zero waste by 2030. That means that 90% of the waste we generated needs to be either compost, recycle, or reuse. And we only gonna dispose 10% into the landfills. That sounds pretty cool, but it's very hard. Especially the more that you start working on it, you realize it's gonna get to a point you get stuck. And it gets stuck because of the same thing. People don't want to think about waste. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to smell it. They just need it to go away. And I'm here coming telling everybody, no, you need to think about waste. You need to take a few seconds, and we all have to change the way we think. Besides that, I mentioned SB 1383, which is the Senate bill from the state of California that mandates that all organic waste needs to be diverted from the landfill. So we have to compost it. We also have to rescue at least 25% of that organic waste in the form of food waste to be donated to the people in need. And we have to have trash cans that are color-coded, proper label, and in every location that used to have a trash or a recycle bin in the past. When you think about that, it made us change about 2,000 trash cans around campus to make sure we are in compliance and they are located in a way that is accessible for everybody. And they're all labeled, like you said in the pictures before. They have the green for compost, the blue for their recycling, and the black, gray for landfill. They have labels of what can go in there and what cannot. So that was the easy part. Now we are trying to make sure everybody uses them correctly. We also have the CSU system as a whole, as a single-use plastic policy that prohibits the use of plastic straws on campus, plastic water bottles, and styrofoam in any time of foodware services, and carry-out bags. Yes.
I saw in Japan, if you take it to go cup, like a coffee cup, cups out of,
Yes.
so you drink your coffee and you can eat the.
That's awesome. The cookie one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm obsessed with that. And
I think it would be a big hit on the campus.
I agree. But that just brings one of the big challenges that we encounter and I encounter in this job, that all our food providers on campus, they don't actually have a contract with the campus itself. They have a contract with a private company that runs them on campus. So we, as the campus officers, we try to make good relationships and come up with ideas and programs. But at the end of the day, we don't have a say on what they are going to do and how they're going to run their sites and what they're going to provide. However, having these policies in place, at least making them try to use better products. If you go to Sac State and you find any of them, let me know, I'm the trash police. I'll go around and make sure they change it. I know a few locations that still using plastic straws. That's my biggest fight right now. But we also know that a lot of people brings their own waste into campus. So it's very hard to prohibit where you got in McDonald's on the street, or the students love Dutch Bros and their coffees with the colorful straws everywhere. But the policy is there, and we are trying to make some progress on that. I don't think I actually included what goes in each bin, but I'm gonna give you a little quick training. So the compost bin is the green bin, right? Do you guys know what goes into the compost bin? The best way to think about it is that everything that was alive or came from something alive is compostable. So that includes your paper plates, your napkins, your paper towels, all your fruit peels, your leftover food, cook or not cook, can go in there. Yes.
I buy like almond milk or oat milk or whatever, and it seems like the outside of the carton is paper, which I thought would go in composting, but then there's like this metallic lining. So I don't know where to put the whole thing.
That's a great question. I was getting there. So the only way you don't put paper products in the compost bin that are soiled or they were mixed with food is when you see a shiny layer on them. That means that they put a layer of plastic to make it more durable. And that plastic and those chemicals are going to leach into the compost facilities that are processing all this food. So at that point, you need to put it in your landfill bin. However, that specific, the milk cartons, the protein shakes that came in those packages, that's the hardest to dispose in the entire state and country, because it's not only the carton or the plastic, they also have aluminum in it. So it's 4 different layers of different materials in one product that is just gonna get disposed into a landfill and stay there for many, 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 many years. So let's go back to the recycling bin. It's the blue one. We've all been doing it for a while. We know it is plastics, it is papers, it is cans, and it is glass. However, not all the plastics are recyclable. On the city of Sac and Sac State, only the ones that have a 1 or a 2 in the little triangle are recyclable. The rest are actually going to end up going into the landfill.
Is that for Sacramento?
Yes, Sacramento as a city. Yeah, and if I go deeper, I know there are some locations that take them, but the reality is that the state of California don't have facilities to process those, so they have been shipped to Mexico for the last 10 years. I know.
That's good.
Who knows?
So they get edible cups.
Yeah, yeah.
Those go recyclable or not?
Those are trash.
Landfill.
Yes, even if it's plastic and it says the word compostable on it, there are no compostable plastics. Those are gonna go into the landfill. I know they try to trick us. We are trying to do the right thing, but all this marketing and all these labels are just confusing. Yes.
But I had food at a restaurant and they served it in the styrofoam, okay? But on the bottom of the styrofoam, it has a little triangle. So I have the styrofoam with recycling.
So the triangle actually means the type of plastic. So there are 8 different types, and it's just the label to be able to recognize what plastic is in. But a styrofoam, it is not recyclable.
Yeah, those are called resin identification codes.
Yes.
So when we're talking about the 1s and the 2s, that's referring to PET and HDPE.
Yes.
Great. So like what your milk jug is made out of, like the dairy milk jug, and a lot of very clear plastics that you have like juices inside of. Those are like the best ways that I can like point to those.
Juices, sodas,
Right.
even the water bottles, your shampoo bottle is probably recyclable, your detergent, those a little bit harder, and then also the clear ones, those are the ones.
Those are 1 and 2.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going, but before that, everything else, if you are not sure, always put it in the landfill bin, because that way we don't contaminate the other 2, and we can actually reuse those products in some way. So as part of our office, we have the backyard and the garden. The backyard is our composting facility. We take around this time of the year all the leaves from the 3,000 plus trees on campus. We take it there and we compost it. With that, we make a huge pile. We water it down. We cover. That's a type of composting, hot composting, thermophilic composting. If you do it right, between 6 to 9 months, you have finished compost. Last year, we had about 50 tons of leaves going into this facility, meaning we have a lot of compost that we can use and donate to the community. So we start with our own campus grounds, and our faculty, our staff, our students, everybody's welcome. The community is welcome to go and grab it. But we also deliver to Sac Unified Schools, community gardens, and anybody in the area that needs or have an interest to start their own garden. You guys are welcome too if you want to, just let us know. It also serves as a living lab facility for the students where they can learn about how these systems work in real life, come up with their own project ideas, use the campus resources as their own, and come up with solutions. We recently added an anaerobic digester to it, which is my favorite thing. I can talk about it all day, but I don't have that time. For those who don't know, it's works just like a cow's stomach, a huge cow's stomach. We have it in a shipping container. You can put all types of food waste in there. The bacteria eat it and releases methane. We capture the methane and we clear it. And when we use a power generator that used to run in gasoline, now to run in methane, and we create energy from it. We use that energy to power events of campus. We have power banks, batteries that we take, so we don't have to use gas generators. We can use energy created from food waste from the catering kitchen that is hosting the event. It's pretty cool. So part of this facility is also providing education, tours, and telling everybody that there are solutions. Yes. Sometimes we don't think it really happens when we dispose our waste, or we go like, well, one is not going to make a difference. Who really knows if they're doing the right thing? So we try to show the systems and know large scale of those are placed around the community and around the state, and the policy is in place, and we are doing our best to make sure we manage organics right. And then we have a garden. We use the compost we created, and we plant fruits and vegetables year-round. The students do it, our fellows do it, and then everything is used by the students at the ASI Food Pantry, which is a really good program as well.
Yeah, we tend to generate about 2,000 pounds of organic produce that goes over to the food pantry to help support the students. We know that they're first and foremost students, and like if you've ever been a student before, I'm sure it's been a little bit of a struggle. And so like the last thing we want is for our students to be hungry, and they should have access to healthy food with low food miles that helps them be successful.
And we do have bees. And we create hornet honey. Yes, hornets don't make honey. By that, they do in Sac State, according to the president. We have the hives both at the backyard, at the garden. Our team oversees the program. We manage them. We also get swarms from campus in the springtime and put them in hives so the bees don't get killed. We protect them. All the sale money from the honey actually goes back into a program to purchasing hive items, tools, the pollen for them, planting natives, and just kind of getting the program going. You can buy hornet honey in our website or at the bookstore. And it's fresh, local, organic honey.
Do you have an idea of how many jars or?
Oh my gosh. You know exactly.
We know exactly. I can tell you right now. So this past season was the largest honey production we ever had. I think we're sitting in about 1,500 jars of honey. Each jar has a half a pound or 6 ounces of honey. Honey gets measured by weight, not by the amount, because of the consistency. So it's half a pound, $12. We have so much. We also had the most beehives we ever have. At some point, we ended up having 18. So we went from 12 to 18 in the last season. But in an average, when we do an extraction, we get between 500 to 700 jars.
We get some in here so we could purchase them.
I think we can come up with a game plan. I can bring my computer, and the thing is, like, as a campus employees, we cannot handle cash. But if you guys have credit cards, I can bring my computer one day and bring some honey, and you can purchase it.
Otherwise, where do you purchase it?
Again, online, and then you pick it up in our office or at the bookstore. They have it at the Sac State bookstore.
So like if you go to Sac State Sustainability on our website, there's an option for
I'm
it.
gonna show you how to do it in a little bit. And then I wanted to point out the UN, the United Nations, have 17 goals to achieve in sustainability and sustainable development across the world. A lot of countries around the world and entities have adopted these goals kind of as the framework that you do or follow to achieve sustainability. And kind of summarizing what you guys heard from us, what we're doing, and how we need to focus on these areas in order to get a better planet and a better world for everybody. Okay, I have a quick slide how to get involved. Josh covered it early. We have some organizations on campus. We have, we used to have paid students. We don't anymore, but we have internships, volunteer hours, and we are always happy to provide training, presentations, or come and speak with groups around the campus and the community.
What is volunteers?
So the volunteers, there are different ways to volunteer with us. The most common one is on Thursdays between 1:30 to 3. We open our doors of the garden for everybody that wants to volunteer and help us maintain the garden to come in. We might be planting, we might be harvesting. Sometimes we just have to weed, but it takes a lot of people to maintain a 1 acre garden, and it's enough. We have an office of 5, so it's very hard. But if you have a specific area of interest from what you hear, we can also come up with like a little project or a volunteer opportunity to help in that space. Can be monitoring energy or water or helping me sort through waste. I'm just giving random ideas, but we want everybody to be involved and take part of the program. Okay, so like I say, I have some resources. They are in our website, so I'm gonna show you how to use it. I'm gonna go through. Okay, this is on my computer. I'll make it work. I never use Firefox, but I'm gonna use it today. If it loads, and I'm gonna show you how to find all the stuff. I know someone, oh, it's me the one that have my own question? I have a hands up in the Zoom. Okay. Okay.
I think it's you.
Okay, perfect. So when you go into any computer, you just literally just search Sac State Sustainability. You don't even have to write the whole thing. It will pop up.
We're that popular.
You click in there, and it takes you to our website. The first thing I'm gonna show you is the dashboard we referenced multiple times. It's right there. Takes a second to load. It's a lot of information. Yeah, and it has the energy, the electricity, the gas, the water, the solar, and the waste information from the campus. If you want to learn more about what we've been doing, we have a news and announcement sections that summarizing some of the projects or press releases that we have been involved in the last few months. We try to apply for awards to get some recognition and support from our leadership, so you can check the ones we have gotten. We have a page that summarizes our work at the garden. We cover it and what we get to offer there. Same for the backyard, which is the compost facility. And the most important one, hornet honey and how to buy. So you just click in there and you can just do purchase honey. and it takes you to our website, the price, and how many jars we have available.
Makes really good Christmas gifts.
Cool.
This is the same price as the
No, the bookstore actually has a $3 extra, so it's $15 there. It's just the fee that they use to process the transactions. Again, I'm open. We can work it out with a day that I can come and help you guys if you're interested. With that, that's all that we have for you guys today. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Anything in the chat?
So glad you guys are moving.
Okay, great.
I mean, Sac State is basically a small city. So
It is.
City, there of its own.
The legislation that came out, a little while ago that you're complying with. Is Sac State, I don't say just Sac State, but is there other campuses that are doing it? Because when I go, like McDonald's, or Starbucks, well, not Starbucks, but McDonald's, they have plastic straws, and I thought that was supposed to go away.
So there are multiple legislation on food packaging. The one that I reference mostly works about organic waste, so everything that's compostable. However, there is another one that was about restaurant packaging. The way that legislation was created at first only mandates for state entities to follow that everything needs to be either recyclable or compostable or reusable, and they have very specific criteria what reusable is. I think you have to watch at least 150 times to be considered reusable. However, and I'll be speaking about this in like 10 minutes in a different presentation, we have the state of California passed a new legislation that is going to start taking effect on 2028. It's called Senate Bill 54, which is the circular economy bill. And it really, the intention for it is to manage packaging better, specifically hard plastics that we cannot recycle. So it's expected those are going away, and all the companies have to first learn how to redesign packaging using less resources. And second, making sure what we use is either reusable, compostable, or recyclable. So there is a lot to come from the state politics and policy on that. They're still negotiating with CalRecycle and the waste holders and the waste facilities of what is doable and what is not. But we are taking the steps to become a circular economy.
Have you ever considered building an outdoor garden here on our patio?
So when we got here, we just got showing the specs, like pretty cool area. You guys get to maybe do a garden one day. It will be very hard for us to do it because this is not a Sac State building. And honestly, we don't have the capacity to take in anymore.
I know nothing about this dream, but
Okay, so they have a dream of creating a garden right in the terrace over there. I think it's a great dream. I think we should keep dreaming about it. I think we should write a proposal and making sure they let us use the space. But sadly, it's nothing that our office can do besides supporting in some way of donating compost if the dream really happens.
Yeah, we could keep on dreaming your dream. And then when comes time for that dream to start rolling out, becoming a reality, we are happy to give you as much compost as you need. Yeah. We'll let you use our greenhouses to start your plants.
there's your compost go.
So again, we generate more than we could ever use on our campus. So we use it across the campus grounds. But we still have so much left over. So we work with Sac Unified School District, local community gardens, and we actually work with their coordinators to deliver the compost to those sites to help support those different gardens across Sacramento. I'm sorry?
Oh my goodness.
The Agency on Aging? I don't think we've connected with them before.
Because they used to have a garden program as well.
Ah, I see. We're always looking for new partners because some fall in and some come out as the seasons rotate. So forming new partnerships with new potential recipients for compost is always of interest to our office.
I think their program might have gotten waylaid by the current
administration.
But it was a great program.
Sure. Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be back.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we have a question in the chat. It says, are the compostable produce bag at the grocery really okay for a compost bin? That's a question that I don't have the answer for, because it depends of where your compost is going. It depends of the facility. Some facilities will take them, some facilities won't. On our case at Sac State, we are required to send them those bags. Do I think they are compostable? No, they will just degrade faster than a regular plastic, but it will still take some time before it goes away. And our facility, we take a lot of our compost to the Yolo County Organics facility, which is a huge new biodigester and composting facility. They have a system that they cut the bags open and the waste just fall into the piles. So the plastic bag actually never makes it into the compost.
So would a paper sack be better?
Yes.
Absolutely. Like the best thing to put it is in a paper bag, because that's 100% compostable.
Or in a bag that you could reuse again and again.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not for your compost.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not for your compost? No, probably not for compost.
Okay. Does anybody has any more question for us?
Well, don't worry, this isn't your last opportunity. If the question does come up, we're always happy to talk to you via email, or if you're interested in having a tour of the garden. We love to give tours and kind of demonstrate in real life the kind of work that we're doing on our campus, and across the campus as well. So always happy to take questions and get involved after this as well.
Do
And-
you have a link? Do you have a link from the Sac State website?
Yes, if you go to the Sac State website, you can use the little